at the core, we just love using music to share stories of what God's done in our lives, and help encourage and inspire other people to live the life that God's called them to.
Is there anything too hard for God? And they always scream no. And it's so fun. We do it a couple times, and it just kind of shows that God can do anything.
We're really hesitant to be vulnerable, but it's in that vulnerability that we can find strength and healing and renewal. And so I've seen that play out and be a big, huge part of my growth as a person. And so it's so cool to be able to be a catalyst for those moments for someone else.
One of the questions I like to kind of open up to get us going, at least, is to hear about like what you guys feel people need to hear and know about your ministry. What do you guys do? What does your day, like week to week, day to day, look like when you're planning things out? And like on a big day, what is that like?
Dude, it's kind of all over the place as far as like a week to week, day to day.
That's what I expected.
Being a music artist, it's like all random. Every month looks a little bit different. But at the core, we just love using music to share stories of what God's done in our lives, and help encourage and inspire other people to live the life that God's called them to live that full, abundant life that He's called us to. And that looks different depending on what is your definition of an abundant life. You know, for us, it's a life that's finding its fulfillment in living with purpose and intentionality, being about the things that God's called us to. So we love to use music to do that. That takes place at all different kinds of things. Sometimes we're at camp or a conference leading worship. Sometimes it's doing a concert where we're sharing our original songs and some testimony and stories. Sometimes it's at our home church on Sunday morning. You know, it's all of the above, where we get the chance to do that. It's something we love to do.
I've witnessed that for you guys. And like we talked about this beforehand, that the first time I saw you guys perform was at a camp that I was serving at as a leader. And then you guys also being at Unity, right? So those are two different contexts. And then you mentioning you guys serving in your church. So when it comes to the experience between going from like one extreme to the other, what's the difference like? What's that experience like? And how do you handle that, like those sort of switch ups, right? Because I'm sure you guys have to have a plan.
Do you got an answer for that?
Like day to day and then going into like events?
Yeah.
Well, I guess my life and like what I do, like he works at a church in Muskegon, Port City Church. I'm sure we'll get into that. But I work at a cosmetology school, actually, as a receptionist, just a couple days a week. But I love that, and I love that I get to be light in the world in a dark place and just, spread the love of Jesus. But then after Monday, Tuesday, I'm like, okay, how do we need to get ready for the next event, spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever we need to do to prepare. And I think in my mind, I'm just like, okay, we have this event, what songs? And then I just start praying over the event and the people we're going to encounter. Does that help?
Oh yeah. So I want to probe on that a little bit.
Sure.
Like let's, for example, let's talk about Unity a little bit. What was that like, getting ready to plan that out? I don't know much about this world, so I'm letting you guys take over.
It's all good, man.
I have no musical talent, so
sure. It's a ton of fun. I mean, that's a much bigger stage than the ones we're most frequently on. So there's aspects of that are, of course, it's more exciting. Like getting to like strum a guitar chord and like, whoa, I made that big noise happen. There's just something about that that's kind of that's cool and fun. That's a reality. But then like we've also got times where it's like, hey, there's like 50 people in the room and it's just acoustic chill thing. But both are so meaningful in their own way, and God works and moves through that. So like from event to event, like with the broad scope of things we do, I think something as I've just over the years grown in my faith and like walking in the purpose of who I feel God's called me to be, I think is realizing that sometimes calling is not so much it can be a place or a specific time or event, but I think it more so is a calling of like, okay, who am I at the core? What is it that God's calling me to take wherever I'm at, right? Wherever He's placing me at for that day, and being consistent in that, I think is really like a core of how you stay the course. Of just realizing that any event or interaction has value and there's purpose to be found in that. You know.
Within those like opportunities, you guys get a chance to perform and worship and lead people. Are there any special moments or like key moments that you guys can like look back and remember and say, this was a time that like the Lord really used this platform, right? Is there any moments like that you have found on stage?
How to decipher which one is the question. Can we come back to that?
Oh yeah.
Unless you have one, I'm gonna start, rolling them through my mind.
I think in general for me, like what I love the most about it is like, there's like, as we all have like ups and downs in our life journey and different things we struggle with, like, I've had seasons of my life where I was struggling with depression and alcoholism, and so there's been some times when we're at events sharing, that's a part of what we talk about. It's not like everything that we talk about, but the moments where I get to have some like, oh yeah, like I've been there with you in that. We're able to like encourage each other in the conversations after the event that are able to happen.
So good.
One of the big things for me, I think, growing up and living in and working in faith circles, is that a lot of times there's this like unspoken pressure to like have it all together. I think sometimes we're really hesitant to be vulnerable, but it's in that vulnerability that we can find strength and healing and renewal. And so I've seen that play out and be a big, huge part of my growth as a person. And so it's so cool to be able to be a catalyst for those moments for someone else who's, you know what, yeah, I can admit that I struggle with this, and like I haven't opened up about that before. It's just, it's neat to have those moments. I think that's personally, that's some of my favorite moments is getting to be a part of those stories of people's journey.
Yeah, it's so cool to hear how the Lord is leading you guys in those moments, and it's not just like I'm here to provide something for you, but we're in this together, and I'm sharing my story. And through that story, through that testimony, the Spirit is impacting somebody else's life in the same way that He has impacted your life. And that's what ministry is all about, right? It's just God has given you your unique experience and story, and allowing you to speak through that so that other people can hear that and say, this person is struggling or going through something that I'm going through right now or has gone through. And so if they can find the Lord in that time and through that season, He's also present with me here as well.
Amen. I thought of one. Can I share it?
Yes, go for it.
So there is a song that I wrote, and then we co-wrote it, but it's called "Is Anything Too Hard for My God?" And that song, whenever I sing it, I talk about my past, and I've struggled with anxiety and still struggle with anxiety. It's a very common thing, but being able to relate to the people around, and people just saying, yeah, I struggle too, they just lock eyes with you, and you can just have that moment. And one of the things in the song is like, is anything too hard for my God? And I say, is there anything too hard for God? And they always scream no. And it's so fun, and we do it a couple times, and it just kind of shows that God can do anything, and in the moment when I'm singing the song, and the words of the chorus are, nothing is impossible for those who believe. He's the one that slayed the giants and brought them to their knees. Call on the name of Jesus. He's the one that sets you free. Anything is possible for those who believe. And I get emotional every time because I can just see the Holy Spirit moving on certain people when I'm singing that in wherever we are, on Unity in front of 20,000 people, in a room with 20 people. He's still moving, you know, and it's really just about him, the audience of one. But that's one moment I just can see specifically that Holy Spirit just hovering over certain people and them just believing God for what they're praying for.
Take that a step further, you know, as we were writing that song, we wanted to try and take like these miracles that God has done, but then how does that relate to like my everyday life?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's really easy for me to like, okay, no, I know these Bible stories of these big, huge things that God did, and okay, I can say, yes, I believe that anything's possible for God.
Yep.
But what does that mean for me today? You know, so like some of the lines we were writing in the verse is like, if you can shut the mouths of the lions, like Daniel in the lion's den, well, you could probably shut the voice of my doubts too, couldn't you? You know, those things that hold me back from stepping into the life you've called me to. You know, if you can tear down the walls of Jericho, then you could probably break through these walls that I've built up in my heart that keep me from stepping into relationship the way that you've created me for, you know. And like, it's just because sometimes we look at that and we assume, oh yeah, God can do anything, but no, like he cares about those things that I don't even know that they're necessarily small things. They're actually pretty big things. Yeah. But they're such they're so everyday in front of us that we kind of dismiss them as things that God could work in. And no, like he can, and he will, and he wants to, as we step out in faith and follow his ways in that. But
I think often one of the words that I've like really held closely in my ministry and just the recent years is authenticity, and how, especially like speaking to like younger generations, like for example, when you are in front of people and you are, you know, trying to hold it all together or like act as if you got it all together, I would say Gen Z, Gen Alpha, like they can clock that. They know it so well because in the face of just like AI and social media and stuff, they're so used to the fake, right? Whereas when it comes to like these interactions that we have as people and these like our experiences, our testimony, the authenticity that comes with the relationship and a testimony and saying, I see you, but not only I see you, the Lord sees you and knows you, and that you are not alone, right? There's something real about that I think when you guys are on that stage presenting that and showing that, it does work, right? It does the Lord's work and is really impacting people's lives. So it's just a beautiful thing to talk about, to hear, and just, I mean, it's so cool to hear that that's something you guys are doing, right? So one of your songs, Heart's Wasteland, you guys sort of, I think is Isaiah 43 that you pull a lot of that from, and you guys speak on that a little bit of how like you think like you're fixating on your problems and what's in front of you, but you're not necessarily seeing what God's doing behind the scenes. And in those moments where we are fixating on those problems, there's something behind that God's working on, and we may not see it, but like he's doing it, right?
no, yeah, that verse, there's a verse that says, I'm doing a new thing. This is what God is saying to his people, but do you even perceive it? And it's like, that tells me that I'm probably not going to get it at the front end all the time, you know? And it just requires trust and faith in what God's plan and purpose is in this moment. You know?
Let me throw this question to you guys with your guys' experience. For some young people who are interested in jumping into leading worship, just overall, right? Keep it broad. What kind of advice would you give to them that would help them, encourage them in those moments where they're feeling either, you know, lackluster or, you know, not worth their efforts, or etc.? Kind of what we've talked about already, right?
You want to answer it?
Yeah. One of my biggest things, because like I lead worship with him at our church, but I try to like encourage the people that are on the worship team and the ladies specifically that are leading. And I'm like, hey, what have you been reading in the Bible this week? Because it all stems from the secret place. You're going to worship out of a place of overflow if you're filled up. And that is what I pray and encourage as many people as I can find that lead worship on stages, is that they have to stay with God, with behind a closed door.
Yeah.
That's where it really matters, and staying in the Word. And praying together. We've been praying a lot more together, and it's just been God just changing so much. So I would say my biggest advice is just don't lose that place with God. No matter how big or small your stage is, He is the main reason. And once you're locked eyes with Him, you can lead a room, you know?
That's beautiful.
No, I think there's sometimes some tension too, between the like performance side of hey, I'm delivering a piece of art right now,
So good.
you know, and that's a reality, you know, in modern worship music settings, but then also like especially with us going back and forth from doing concerts and leading worship, like tonight we're doing a worship night at a church in Coldwater. We'll do a few of our songs, but it's a different posture of an event. So I think just remembering that, like when we're leading worship, like we're just there to serve people.
Yeah.
Like things don't have to be perfect and completely flushed out. Like, yes, there's value in excellence. I think there's a lot of things in Scripture that even would point towards saying that, yes, we should be intentional about doing things well. But I think what matters more is like what Beth was getting at, is like that integrity of the heart. And how am I helping point people to Jesus in this moment?
Yeah. I want to take it back a little bit to hear a little bit about your guys' story and your like how you guys got to this point, right? So like Joe, I want to hear a little bit about the beginning of you starting your like ministry in like music and worship, and then I want to hear from you, Beth, like how did you guys bring this together?
So the beginning was before I was even a student here. I started playing guitar because we found a guitar in my grandma's closet when she passed away. And I didn't even know she played. Maybe she didn't, maybe she just had it. But so I started teaching myself some stuff. And I was horrible, but I loved it. And I started, I started writing some songs and stuff. And there was a youth group at our little small country church. I grew up in cornfields of Illinois, and started doing some worship songs at our church youth group. And there was a youth conference we went to, and there was a guy there speaking about Nehemiah and how he stood up in his generation and rebuilt the walls of God's city, Jerusalem. And kind of the challenge that was given there was like, who's going to stand up in their generation and rebuild the walls of God's kingdom today, be a voice for truth. And that's when I first felt called to step into music ministry. And there have been plenty of twists and turns and ups and downs, both with the music as well as my personal life and my faith journey. But that's still kind of been an undercurrent, throughout all of that. When I was here at Grace, there was I don't know if you guys still have it or not. There was a recording studio that was part of the program that I was in.
It's actually that's where we used to record our podcast, like when we first started. So,
right on. That's where I was able to record a few of my first songs and started doing worship for a camp, Grace Adventures, and with a couple guys from the school here, and it just kind of grew from there. This hobby thing that just built, and over time, you just build relationships and connections with different people that are like, hey, could you come and share this thing or that thing? But then as far as like us meeting, that's like way fast forward, because like I'm getting close to 38, right? I always forget. She has to remind me. So I remembered this time. It's next month I'll be 38. But gosh, like it was, So do you want to share this part when we met?
I can share this.
Okay. Cool.
Do you want to share in the past of what happened?
Yeah, that's fine. So
Yeah.
way before I met Beth, I had like a really brief, like 6-month marriage, divorce, whirlwind relationship thing. Was running after a lot of things that I had no business running after, and it was a messy situation that we've moved forward from, and there's been a lot of redemption in that. But that led to a season where like I was a closet alcoholic for a while doing ministry stuff. Not necessarily while I was out on the road doing events and things, because ironically that was also the time I had a song getting on a network radio station, and I was kind of dealing with hurt by throwing my everything into work. And then when I was home from being on the road, the reality of my life set in, and I was like, this is horrible. And so I escaped that through binging. So there came a point where like that just it wasn't working anymore, and some things needed to change. And ended up opening up and sharing with a pastor at the church that I was at the time. And I was convinced like, hey, this is the end. I'm not going to be able to do music ministry anymore once this secret is out. And but I was met with such grace. Sure, accountability and some consequences, but through that, they walked through that with me of like, hey, like we want to help you grow through this, and because they were like, we see repentance there, we know this isn't something you want to stay stuck in. How can we help you with that? And so it was just a really beautiful thing that stepping into recovery and whatnot. But yeah, so that all happened. While I was still in the middle of that mess was when we first met. There was a group doing these 24-hour worship and prayer things around town, and we just I was doing stuff for an hour of it. She was doing stuff with a friend for the hour after, and we just kind of crossed paths. And I remember thinking like, man, this girl is like pretty cool, but there was something in me that just said like, no, like not yet, like you're gonna mess her up, bro. Like you're too much of a mess yourself right now. So I didn't act on that or nothing. And then years later, after I had God had done a lot of change in my life, healed a lot of those wounds from that past relationship. And had quit drinking and stuff, and we ran into each other again as I was sending a group message out looking for some people to be a part of like a music video for a worship song. And she just saw in the message, you just saw like songwriter stuff, and you were like, oh, I love songwriting, and so she reached out, and about a year later we ended up married, and she started singing with me when I was leading worship places, and then it grew from there. But go ahead. I know you like to share some of this too.
This is her part.
Yes, this is your part.
He's got like the meat, and I've got all the little condiments, all the details. Anyways, so in my past I've had a lot of relationships, and I just settled so many times. And I remember one season of my life, I was like, literally men were calling me and saying, hey, like, I want to marry you. We can lead worship. Money's no issue. And I'm just like, I'm not attracted to you. Like, this is not okay. And then it just kept happening. And I'm like, I'm just going to give God like a full month of just my heart. And I mean, not that I wasn't giving God my heart before, but just like undistracted, like dove's eyes for God. And I was like, I'm just going to take 1 month as a dating fast and just seek the Lord and not think about men, and I just want to fall in love with Jesus as my first love right now. And over the holidays, it's always hard if you're single. And so I was like, I'm just going to buy myself a little $8 ring and do that. And so I did. I fell in love with Jesus, and I journaled. Anytime I was lonely, I just journaled to my future husband. And then I gave him the journal. It was really special, which I know is something people do. But so I was seeking the Lord, and I wasn't even paying attention at all. And I was remembering being with my best friend. We were at the gym. We were just about to go in. We were in the parking lot, and that message came across, and it was mutual friends that we were a part of in a group called West Michigan Fam Jam, like worship stuff. And he messaged the group, and I was like, singer-songwriter, I'm interested. And that's all I saw. Because sometimes I'm like ADHD, so I'm like, oh, singer-songwriter. And if I would have read through, I would have been like, I couldn't have been part of his music video the next day because I was busy. So I never would have messaged him. But lo and behold, we just kept messaging, and we started messaging the night my dating fast ended.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that's
God,
just like really,
that's so awesome.
Some people could call it coincidence. Some people would call that providence.
Just,
you know,
yeah,
I
that's
think that's
good.
what it was.
Yeah. And there's just green lights after that, and you know, it was over COVID, kind of like the year after COVID. So coffee shops were still kind of closed here and there. My mom's like, just bring them over to our house. I'll make you guys coffee. And so it was just fun. And I remember seeing a video of him playing guitar, singing the harmonica, and doing the drum all at the same time. And my mom's like, this is him? I was like, yeah. She's like, it looks like everything you've been praying for.
That is so
And so,
sweet. So
time is.
So you guys, both your stories seem like similar in some ways, whereas you guys have a path and a direction you're going towards, right? You want to stay faithful in ministry, and it seems like there might be moments of like distraction, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to that, and I think everyone can relate to this, you know, or you may not know, but you have an idea of like, this is where the Lord is taking me, and like this is where I want to go, but it's not always like a clean path, right? There's always stuff that pops up. So how do you stay focused? Like you mentioned Nehemiah, like it reminds me of like when Nehemiah was trying to get pulled down from the wall, and he's like, no, I'm doing a good work here, and he stayed focused.
That's good.
Like what's some advice to like people who are in that season of life that you guys found yourselves in, where you just kept being faithful and kept pushing towards despite any sort of a distraction or hurdle or things like that?
When you have the answer, I'd love to hear it. No, I think
it can't be that simple, right?
dude, it's a process. You know, it's been a process. I would say, I know. I think personally, and I think us together, we've that's something we've been growing in over time. That consistency piece. But it can be easy to get distracted and discourged. And want to give up or compare to other things. At the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is remembering having a strong sense of the core, like why behind what we're doing. You know, when we remember the why, that helps with all the other things that can come your way. You know, whether they're circumstances or just thoughts that you've got of like, man, are we really supposed to be doing this right now? Like, is man, God, like that's a really expensive part we got to put in the van. You know, are we?
Oh my gosh.
Are we barking up the wrong tree right now? You know, and it's like, no, it's like remembering the why behind what we're doing, you know? And that's helped encourage me. But
that's so good that you brought that up, because this year we're doing something different in our chapels. The first 6 weeks of our formation chapels, we're titling "Find Your Why." And it's spent each week focusing on like where you looking around, look around you, look up, look down, look inward, look outward, like all these different areas, and like seeking your purpose and how you make decisions in that purpose and staying focused on that. So you bringing that up, I'm like, whoa, the Lord, He's doing stuff.
We get tripped up on sometimes too. Is like that why and that purpose isn't necessarily a particular job. It's not a particular space. You know, there isn't always like when we've reached this spot in our career, we've made it. Like, no, because if your purpose is just reaching this destination, you know, that's the whole journey to get there is kind of empty. You know, And then once you get there, what do you do then? You know, like, I think our identity is much bigger than what we do.
Absolutely.
You know, it's who has God called me to be, whatever I'm doing. You know. Yeah. There's to steal something from another musician. There's a guy named Mike Donahue who like I resonate a lot with some things that he's shared on that topic. And he's got a book called gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's just like my God's life for my will or something like that. You know, it's just like sometimes we can get so caught up in like, what am I supposed to be doing, instead of looking at the why of who am I supposed to be, you know, wherever I happen to be doing stuff at. You know?
Paul says, whatever you do to glorify God, right? Yes, so that's amazing.
Yes.
So what's on the horizon for you guys? What's something that you guys are sort of anticipating? Maybe there's something you're working on, or like something that's like, I mean, today you're going to something to do something, right? And that's kind of what the work of ministry is like, right? But
so we've been kind of in a formative season, I feel like, for the last couple of years. You know, we've been married about 3.5 years now, and we just changed the brand name stuff of our ministry to Joe and Beth within this last year. I've got a number of songs that I wrote when I was releasing stuff as Joe Guerra that I recorded and finished that haven't been released yet. So we're gonna roll those out under the new artist name. Those are some songs reflecting on like my healing and growth journey that we've talked about a little bit already. And then we've also got a few songs that we've been writing together that we've got recorded. So we're really getting ready to start rolling those songs out. But in the midst of that, we've also had this thing in our heart to do these things called Freedom and Praise Nights. So next month we're gonna get to give it a go, like doing a Freedom and Praise Nights tour, which is super cool. So it basically we had a festival booked in Missouri and another event in Iowa the next week, and we were like, hey, let's rather than just driving back and forth the 2 weekends from Michigan, let's just do it. Let's just see if people want to host a Freedom and Praise Night, right? And so we just started calling and messaging some people, and we've got like 7 stops now we're doing next month. Cool. We got Sandy the van with she's a Sandy, our van. It's a big old Sprinter van. It's got a bunk in it. We drove it here. It's where we drive for all our music stuff.
That's Sandy.
It's got a bunk in it, a fridge, and you know, we've got a little cooktop thing. We're just like, hey, let's go and just see what God has for us.
Like my dressing room. You know, bring makeup and you just do it in the van.
So most of these things that we're going to be sharing, the idea behind a Freedom and Praise Nights is like, because what we do is kind of a combination of like, sometimes we're doing a concert, sometimes we're leading worship, and we've got a heart for both of those things. This is kind of smashing them together a little bit. It's not really a worship night, but it's not just a concert either. You know, so we'll be sharing our story, some of my testimony of finding freedom in Christ and freedom through being vulnerable with others, as in freedom from addictions, and then stepping into a time of worship, just kind of flowing that into a time of worship. And we're partnering with churches to do this in their local communities. There's one of them we'll be doing at in Green City, Missouri. They were like, hey, we don't have to do it at our church. We'll book the town square, and so we're gonna bring the PA with. We're setting up in the town square, and we're just gonna proclaim the truth of who God is, what He's done, and see what comes from that. There's a prison we're gonna stop and share at.
That's so exciting! Whoa, that's so cool.
It's neat just the way that God's just been opening up opportunities to get to go do that. And so in the coming year, I think those are the kind of the 2 main things we're looking forward to is rolling those songs out so that they're available for people, and see what God wants to do through those, and then also doing more of what we're going to be doing next month. Just because we were like, you know what, man, if God's piecing things together for us to be able to go do this in Missouri for a week and a half, like there's plenty of other spots around the country that we know people that we could be like, hey, God, what ministry do you have for us to do? It almost feels a little bit like being a traveling missionary, if you will. You know, I use that term loosely because I feel like a lot of our message really is more so pointed to people in the church. You know, like I think our ministry really is more about edifying the body and encouraging people to more fully step out in their faith, and their purpose and what God's called them to, and finding healing from brokenness. You know, there's a lot of us that can find ourselves in church, but in some pretty broken, hurting places, and we need to hear that story of God's grace and what He can do in our life too. So like nothing wrong with musicians that are, you know, like, hey, we want to share the gospel with the lost, but like I think really our lane is more so like, hey, how can we encourage the body of believers? You know, sure, there's some evangelism that happens along the way, you know, but
yeah, you never know. People could be in the church but still not be of the church. So it's so true. Yeah, so you always got to be, you know, sharing the good news with people who need to hear it. But so how do people stay updated with what you guys are doing and can find your music? Like what are the socials?
Can I grab like cards?
You can.
Yeah,
I have a card.
You have one on you? Go get it. Go get it.
I'll tell them.
Yeah, let us know. So people who are looking for your stuff.
We have on any social media platform like Instagram or Facebook, it's Joe and Beth Music. We dropped my last name because nobody could spell it or pronounce it. Sometimes I got called Joe Gorilla, you know, like it's just, But
There's Joe and Beth.
Joe and Beth Music.
Yes.
That's our tag on Instagram and Facebook. We also do like an email newsletter.
Oh, that's so cool. Can I see
You can totally have
So if you flip it around, it's got all the stuff on there. But and we do an email newsletter that you can sign up for on our website, joeandbethmusic.com or joeandbeth.com. Actually, there's no music at the end of it. We were able to snag the Joe and Beth. Okay. So there's a newsletter you can sign up for there, and then our music is all on like wherever you stream stuff. You can find it under the new music will be under Joe and Beth. And then a lot of like my old music is still up as Joe Guerra. Being an independent artist, it can be tricky to get that all shifted over to a new artist name. So for now, it's sitting there under the Joe Guerra name still. But any new music moving forward, including our most recent song we put out, Freedom Song, is under Joe and Beth.
Okay. So we got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
All the stuff.
Apple Music,
all the social handles.
Spotify.
All the stuff.
People will find you.
we would love that. Like our big thing is, you know, you kind of alluded to it earlier. A big part of what we do is sharing our story, our journey of like what does following God look like for us. And encouraging other people in their story. So like you can come along on the journey with us. You know, it's kind of our hope that people beyond just an event are able to connect and keep up with us through socials or email, the newsletter, and we'd love for people to come along the journey with us of what God's doing in our life, and in our lives collectively. You know, so
good. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Joe. This has been a great conversation.